Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And this is my April wrap-up. And for the month of April, I read 5 books. I did reviews for every one of those 5 books because I'm trying to do a whole spoiler-free review for every book that I read during 2018. And so far, I have accomplished it. So let's get right in and talk about the 5 books that I read. I'm almost done with my first book of May. So I had a lot of goals for April. I had a lot of goals to catch up. Okay, first of all, that Dewey's 24-hour readathon, I didn't do hardly anything. I finished a book I was already listening to on Audible, so I did not even do very well on that. But I did get a very good nap in that day. It was a very nice nap. So, you know, it is what it is. But I had a lot of goals that I did not achieve for the month of April. But I also had a lot of goals that I did achieve, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. So, the first book that I read in April was called Raggedy Ann and Andy, an adaptation, and I don't have any of the books with me right now. It was a film adaptation of a movie that I had seen when I was a little kid with my grandma, and I found it in the basement, and I was like, oh my god, I want to watch this movie again, but I want to read this book, because I don't think I ever actually read the book. The book was like less than 100 pages, and it took me literally a month to read because it was so boring. It was, have you ever read these film adaptations, like from film to book? Like book to film sometimes works, rarely, but film to book almost, did I say film to book? Book to film works rarely. I think rarely, but film to book almost never works. Like it's total crap. I ended up giving the book 3 stars, and that was generous, okay? And the 3 stars were probably for the fact that it followed the movie very, very closely, because I also watched it afterwards. It's on YouTube. You can go watch it. It is Raggedy Ann and Andy, like the musical is what it's called. And then it also had pictures from the movie. So there you go. That's what you get for your 3 stars. I put cute. That was my response on Goodreads. The next book that I read was The Flight Attendant by Chris Bajalian. I mispronounce his name. So many people have commented what it is. I still cannot remember it, okay? I think it spells out like an S or something on here. So I did a full review on this as well. Let me tell you what the book is about. Cassandra Bowden is no stranger to hungover mornings. She is a binge drinker. Her job with the airline makes it easy to first adventure, and the occasional blackouts seem to be inevitable. She lives with them and the accompanying self-loathing. When she wakes in a Dubai hotel room, she tries to piece the previous night back together, already counting the minutes until she has to catch her cruise shuttle to the airport. She quietly slides out of bed, careful not to aggravate her already pounding head, and looks at the man she spent the night with. She sees his dark hair, his utter stillness and blood, a slick, still wet pool on the crisp white sheets. Afraid to call the police, she's a single woman alone in a hotel room far from home. Cassie begins to lie. She lies as she joins the other flight attendants and pilots in the van. She lies on the way to Paris as she works the first-class cabin. She lies to FBI agents in New York who meet her at the gate. Soon it's too late to come clean or face the truth about what really happened back in Dubai. Could she have killed him? If not, who did? Okay, so it reminds me very much of the movie The Morning After with Jane Fonda, if you've ever seen it, although that movie was better than the book. The book was good. I gave it 4 stars, and I did a full review on it if you want to go hear more about it. The thing that bothered me a little bit, first of all, was on the heels of reading The Woman in the Window, I feel like in 2018 that the catchphrase character are, you know, women with drinking problems, female alcoholics that are untrustworthy narratives and or narrators. And I don't know, like, it was done so well in The Woman in the Window that anything after that is going to be kind of compared to that, if that makes sense. And you know, it's difficult to do well in a book to write like an alcoholic character and I'm a person that's been sober for 23 years, so I'm very active in 12-step programs. I mean, it's not like this is new to me. It's hard to write a character that's very authentic. Both of them did. I thought both of them did AJ Finn, who wrote Woman in the Window, and Chris Bajalian, or whatever his name is, did a very good job in The Flight Attendant. It was very realistic. But I'm like, I don't need to see it again. Like, I don't need to see it in 5 more books in 2018. You know what I mean? So that was the one thing. And the other thing was the very end of the book felt very much like a movie where they throw in a character at the last minute that solves the whole thing. And I just was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I liked the ending, but it was just like too tightly wound together. So that's why I gave it 4 stars. I will say this, okay, that it would be an excellent mystery thriller to read while you're traveling. I started it when we went to Miami, and it was really fun to read while I was in Miami. The next book that I read was The Dangerous Art of Blending In by Angelo Stromilis. Okay, I gave this book 5 stars. I loved this book. I will tell you, it's very, very depressing. It is a young adult book, and an LGBT young adult book. Let me read to you the caption of what it is about. 17-year-old Evan Panos doesn't know where he fits in. His strict Greek mother refuses to see him as anything but a disappointment. His quiet workaholic father is a staunch believer in avoiding any kind of conflict. And his best friend Henry has somehow become distractingly attractive over the summer. Tired, isolated, scared, Evan's only escape is drawing in an abandoned church that feels as lonely as he is. And yes, he kissed one guy over the summer, but it's his best friend Henry who's now proving to be irresistible. Okay, no, he doesn't kiss his best friend Henry over the summer. Like, that's how I read it, but that's not. Oh my God, what did I do? I went into something. Okay. And yes, he kissed one guy over the summer, period. But it's his best friend Henry who's now proving to be irresistible. It's Henry who suddenly seems interested in being more than friends, and it's Henry who makes him believe that he's more than his mother's harsh words and terrifying abuse. But as things with Henry heat up and his mother's abuse escalates, Evan has to decide how to find his voice in a world where he has survived so long by avoiding attention at all costs. Okay, so when I started this book, I really thought it was going to be, you know, I love to read LGBT YA because there just wasn't any of that when I was growing up, but it has to be done in kind of a different way. I really thought this was just going to be, you know, just like all of the other ones that have been put out there, and that just there isn't really a whole lot that's different about it, but I was highly impressed with this book, okay? First of all, they talk about the whole, like, Greek Orthodox religion, and to, like, a point where it's, like, very well researched and it's super interesting, and I'm sure he comes from that similar background. The other thing is, I cannot think of one instance, I mean, other than V.C. Andrews' books, but I can't think of one instance where it is realistically portrayed that a mother is abusing a son in a book. It was so well done. I mean, you become protective of Evan in the book as the reader, and it's just, so if that's interesting to you, I think this is a phenomenal example of how it's done respectfully in an honest way. I will tell you that if you have issues with physical abuse, it's trigger warning to that. There's a lot of it, and it's harsh. I mean, he does not hold back. It's, you know, it's very, very realistic the way that he writes it. And I will tell you this, the ending for me was very realistic. I really, really enjoyed the ending of this book. And for me, a lot of times, the ending is like what kind of, you know, it makes it between a 4 and a 5. The 4 to 5 for me was the combination of how well portrayed the physical abuse was, the questioning of one's own sexuality when put in reference to other people, especially people of religious issues, and a best friend and their family and how we compare our families to their families. It just was so well done, and it's his debut novel, and I just was really, really impressed with it, and I think anybody should read it. So go check out The Dangerous Art of Blending In, and I will link all of these books below. The next book was my first book for Peter's Book Club. Now, if you don't know, what you don't know is a lot. I started a book club. I like that. I started a book club in April, okay, called Peter's Book Club. Now, the reason that I started it, this is my little marketing part, is because I always wanted to be in a book club, but I was too afraid to, like, actually go to one and be like, yeah, I'm here for the book club. So I started a virtual book club, and we're reading all pop culture books. Currently, we're reading Heaven by V.C. Andrews. And let me just tell you, My Sweet Audrina went really, really well. I had forgotten all about it. I ended up giving it 5 stars because, I mean, why wouldn't you? V.C. Andrews is an original. So, and these are not her ghostwritten books. These are like the books, we are only reading the books that V.C. Andrews actually wrote, right? And there was so much wrong with My Sweet Audrina. If you watch my review, it was so problematic. If it was published today, people would let it have it. It was just, but it was so good because it was like, it so reminded me of when I was in high school reading this book and how creepy and strange and weird it was. You had no idea what was going on, and I didn't remember any of it, right? But that was the first book that we did for my book club. I also did a live stream that was just talking about that, that we just talked about My Sweet Audrina. I did that on YouNow. It went really well. I had like 70 to 80 people in there. And the night before on Goodreads, I concocted, I'm so dumb, okay, technologically, but I went on there and I was like, I'm going to start a group like on Goodreads to coincide with Peter's book club. So I will list that below too. I am shook. It currently, you guys, has like 160 some members. I'm like, oh my God, I started a book club and it has 160 members. And I listed the other day when we started Heaven on Sunday, just like we're reading Heaven now, and people are commenting like crazy. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. I am like so ecstatic about it. You guys have no idea. So thank you for those that have joined. I'm just having such a blast with that. And if you haven't and you're interested, go join it. You don't have to read every book. You can pick and choose what you want to read that we're gonna do. And we're reading a different book every 2 weeks. So it's been really fun so far. The last book that I read this month, or for April, was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Penborough. And I just did my review on this yesterday, or the day before. Y'all need to read this book, okay? This book is so twisted. This book is so twisted. This book is so twisted. It is like the best mystery thriller I have read in probably 5 years. And you know I said that about The Woman in the Window. I feel like I have been gifted just like from the universe. Here, you're gonna have a year of great mysteries because I love mysteries. I love reading a mystery that I cannot put down. You know what I mean? Like I just cannot get enough of. And Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Penborough is one of those books. I mean, it is so fantastic, you guys. It is, I can't really even say anything about it because the ending is like, it is so perfectly crafted together that you're like at the end, you're like, oh my God, why didn't I see this? Like, why did I not see this coming, right? And then there's more. Then there's more. Like you think it's the end and then there's more. And you're like, oh my, did this just really happen? Like I really couldn't get it out of my head for like 2 days. It is such a great book. So that was the last book that I read for April. I'm currently reading Leah on the Offbeat. I'm almost done with it. And I'm not really sure what I think about it. It's not my favorite, what do you call it? Becky Albertalli book, I have to say that. And I have to say that my favorite, I'm going to do a haul tomorrow because I bought a bunch of books on Audible. I've been given a lot of books. Authors have sent me some books and I just have a bunch of books. So I'm going to do a book haul tomorrow. But I will say this, my favorite Becky Albertalli books in order, I know this will probably surprise you, is number one, oh shoot, the love one. Why can't I think about that? Why, Unrequited. Oh my God, why am I losing my mind? Anyway, my second favorite book is Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. I'm sitting here like looking this up as this is crazy. You guys are like shouting it at the camera, aren't you? But now I have to know. Becky Albertalli. Oh my God, I can't even. Becky, there it is. The Upside of Unrequited. That is my all-time favorite book by her. And then Simon, and then I have to say Leah on the Offset, or the Offbeat. Let me just tell you, okay, one of the things I do not love about authors when they do this is when they assume you just read a book. Like, okay, you know it's the sequel to Simon, supposedly. It's kind of like the counterpart, because it's about Leah, who's his best friend. But she goes in and she starts talking about like 20 different characters right away. I am so lost. I hate, okay? I hate when authors do that. When they like just basically vomit 20 characters out and you have no idea who any of these people are. It's been like 3 years since I read that book. So I don't remember these people and I haven't seen the movie. So you should put a cast of characters probably at the beginning of your book if you want this one to like it, because I am so, that I can refer back and go, oh, okay. I am so lost right now, but that's not true. Now I'm about 70% done with the book and I am catching on now, and it's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's just okay. I'm not like blown away by it or anything. We'll see how I feel at the end of it. I'm just kind of like, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, let me know what you guys are currently reading or what you read in the month of April in the comment section below. I love you guys. Participate in my book club. It's a lot of fun. We're having so much fun. And I have all the books listed over on my Welcome to My Book Club video. I have all the books listed underneath there that we will be reading for the book club. I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.